This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Lots of comments on the quarterbacks, or the quarterback. Jamie, I've been saying this for a long time. Tyler Shuck is not the guy. He can't get us to where we need to go. When Baron Morton came in last year, you saw and felt a spark. Tyler has never done that. We need to go with QB2. Did you ever get the sense that we were going to see Baron Morton at all on Saturday? Yeah.
No, honestly, I thought Tyler Shuck was pretty bad. 31 of 47, 338 would say to you those are decent numbers. I don't disagree with that. One interception in the game. He threw 3 touchdowns, but he wasn't the only one. But it just felt like some bad reads. It felt like the constant tip balls. The interception across the field where he showed you maybe didn't have the arm strength that you'd like to see out of a next level quarterback. I thought he had a bad day, and then again, I thought he threw a beautiful ball to Jerron Bradley down near the goal line. That was, a difference-making drop, a game-changing drop. It was a 7-point drop, period. Tyler couldn't have thrown it any better, and Bradley doesn't make the catch. And that's one of the many plays that you can look back on and say that cost you the game.
Yeah.
But that's one of them. And Tyler threw a beautiful ball there, and your potential All-American wide receiver dropped it. Yeah.
It had a big fourth down conversion to Dre McCray on that drive. And then you had the big drop by Bradley on third down, leads to a 40-yard field goal attempt, and that's when it's hit somebody in the back. It gets blocked. It was a line drive kick into the line. Let's just be honest. 40-yard kick that you miss, and was, you come away empty there, and you felt like, I think everybody felt like that was a huge drop there by Bradley.
Yeah, I am not at the point. There are people that are, and you do you, okay? There are people that are giving up on Tyler Shuck. They've given up on the team, whatever. This was a really bad performance by our offense, and I thought it was not a good performance from Tyler Shuck. Okay, it was a terrible performance by our offense. I could say that, but can I also say that I'm not ready to give up on him? I just think it was a bad game. I'm not. I know it's the first game and the only game that we have right now to look at, and you might go to 0-2. I don't know. I'm still probably not going to give up on the season because you played. Oregon's a good football team, okay, and so you could lose to them, and you were better than Wyoming. You just had one of those stinkers. It doesn't mean that you still can't go, whatever, 8-4, or 9-3, or whatever you want to go, 7-5, worst case scenario, whatever. Okay, it still doesn't mean that you can't do that. So I don't know that I'm ready to give up on our offense or the team or Tyler Shuck, but I do feel like we can all say that was bad.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm not ready to give up on Joey McGuire and then the silly little nicknames that we see for him now on the chat line. I just think are dumb, in my opinion. Okay, but that's my opinion. You can come up with all the nicknames you want. Okay, I think they're dumb. But for those who have acted like Joey McGuire's team will never not show up and have a bad day, stop with that too. He's a coach, all right? He's not a heavenly being. He and his staff are going to have bad days too. And there are people around these parts that have acted like we've got the only coach in America who will never get out coached on one Saturday. Okay, stop with that. You put him on this high pedestal, and now you get what you get now, where they have a bad day, and you're like, what in the world? This guy's a joke. He's a fraud. No, he's not. He had a bad day.
Yeah, his team had a bad day.
His team had a bad day, which means the head coach has a bad day.
Absolutely.
Okay?
It starts there. He said that as much. He goes, we took our foot off the gas, and he said that falls on me, falls on my responsibility.
So again, I didn't think the defense was that bad on Saturday. Okay, I didn't think they were that bad. I didn't think they were phenomenal by any stretch. But you held them to 20 points on the road. I think that's pretty good. Maybe factoring into that, Wyoming's offense is not very good. It's not great. I don't know. Okay, but you held them 20 points in regulation. I thought your offense was bad, but I'm not ready to give up on your offense. I thought Tyler Shuck did not have one of his better days. I'm not ready to give up on him. Okay, so I just think we have to sit here because it's the only game that we have to look at and go,
sure,
that was terrible, And you know what? We're all going to have a little bit of mental fortitude here because you very easily could start 0-2.
Yeah, which would be the first time in 33 years. You have to go back to 1990 for that.
So you could start 0-2. I mean, and so I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you can start 0-2 and it could still be a really good, really fun season.
Anybody not picking us to go 0-2 today?
I mean, I surely am.
Yeah. I had Oregon as a loss at the start of the season. It was one of my three. So
me too.
The thing that hurts you the most from the defense standpoint were the penalties there in the first half. I mean, you were penalized 4 times for 44 yards in the first half. Kept extending plays, giving them yards, extending drives. Yeah.
Okay. I'll say this. Okay, it's probably not the right thing to say. I don't know. The female official, that was the worst college football official I've ever seen. Okay? She had 2 blown calls that would have benefited us. The catch out of bounds. Anybody in America could see the guy was inbounds and had a foot down. Mm-hmm. Okay? The tipped pass that she wanted to call pass interference on when anybody in America could see that it was a tip pass to take away the pass interference, yet she's still throwing a flag. And the 2 15-yard penalties she gave to the Red Raiders for one, like a little slight push in the shoulder after a play. And then the one where the quarterback basically running down the sideline and basically does a Euro step where he steps in and then immediately steps out. He's half inbounds and half out of bounds when our guy hits him, and she gives 15 for both of those. Those were ridiculous calls, horrible calls. I would love to see the grading of that female official. That was one of the worst officiating jobs I've ever seen by one individual official ever.
And she
I'm not saying it cost us the game. I don't know. It felt like it did, but she was horrendous. Horrible.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
6:46 this morning on the Morning Drive. Time for this day in sports history. Today is September the 5th, 2023. In case you were wondering, because it's confusing it being a Tuesday and all that, here's Jeff McGuire.
How would that make it confusing that it's the 5th?
Well, because
thinking that today is Tuesday.
Because Friday,
it's going to feel like a Monday.
The Monday, Tuesday, I get.
But Friday was the 1st, and you kind of lose track over the weekend as to what the day of the month is. It's already the 5th. It got here pretty quickly.
On a normal day, do you just, like if you have to sign your name on something, check or whatever, and then you have to date it, do you know what the date is? Is that walking around knowledge for you?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'd say pretty. Yeah. I'd say pretty much. Pretty much.
I would say I know about 5% of the time.
When it's payday, I do know.
Okay.
Okay. I always have to ask somebody or tap my phone.
What's today?
Yeah. I never know the date.
I will tell you. I mean, when I'm doing this day, a lot of times I'll tap my phone, make sure I've got the right date. Mm-hmm. Proceed, Mr. McGuire.
1921.
You should tap your phone for other things too.
Walter Johnson.
Does it have Monterey's schedule on there?
Yeah, it does. It's got a lot of things on there. It's got things on there that I can't even do that I should be able to.
Sorry,
do.
Jeff.
No, you're fine.
I'm going to shut up
No,
now.
it's good. Walter Johnson sets a Major League Baseball strikeout mark at 2,287 on this day in 1921. 1955, Dodger Don Newcomb hits a National League pitcher record 7th home run of the season.
Nice.
1960, A.J. Foyt wins the first of 67 IndyCar victories at the No Way I'm Getting That Town Name Right, Illinois State Fairgrounds. No way, I'm not even going to try. There's not a consonant in the second word. 1962, Tubbs Ken Hubbs sets the second base record for consecutive errorless games at 78 and consecutive errorless chances at 418 when he commits an error in the fourth inning. 1971, Astros pitcher J.R. Richards debuts and strikes out 15 Giants in a 5-3 win. Not bad for Major League career opener. 1994, San Francisco wide receiver Jerry Rice catches 2 touchdown passes and runs for another score in a 49ers 44-14 rout of the Raiders, surpassing Jim Brown as the NFL career touchdown leader with 127. 1995, Cal Ripken played a game. It was just his 2,130th consecutive game, but it was just a game.
It's a lot.
You can't get mad. It's National Cheese Pizza Day. You can't get mad. We know. Can't get mad. It's pizza. We're celebrating pizza. It's not your favorite. It's fine. Can't get mad.
It just infuriates me when with both the young phenom and his brother Boy Wonder, they just insist on cheese pizza, and the youngest won't even allow pepperoni pizza to be bought for it to be taken off so that it can be, because if there's like a little speck, even a little speck of seasoning he's out.
Okay, well, let him go hungry once. I bet he'll change his mind.
Yeah, I'm not in charge of that.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to tell you how old this person is, but I swear there are national secrets that are easier to get a hold of than his birth year. But happy birthday, Texas Tech men's golf coach Greg Sands.
What do you mean? You don't know his birth year?
No. And let's not pretend like I haven't done lots of research on this.
Wow. Have you asked him?
Haven't asked him. Haven't seen him to ask him.
So I would
shoot him a text.
So I would say that because you haven't asked him, then you haven't really done that much research on it.
I've checked the Tech page. I've checked his Twitter feed. I've checked his Wikipedia page. And yes, he's got a pretty extensive Wikipedia page. I've checked his Baylor golf page. I have done research on this man.
Baylor, TCU.
Sorry, TCU. Yeah. I've done research on this man.
It's not that it's any better, but
I think
let's at least get us where he went
I think he's 150. That's how old because he played golf, and he's been coaching at Tech. He's the second longest tenured coach at Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm. I used to know his high school basketball/football coach pretty well. I bet he would have told me. I'm guessing. How many? He's had like 18 straight years of
NCAA
postseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's older than we think. He's older than he looks.
Yes, 100%.
But I bet he's still. I definitely think he's still younger than me. So.
No.
You think he's older than me?
Oh yeah.
So he really looks young.
I think he's like 52, 53 would be my guess.
Okay, I was gonna go 47.
No, I think he's north of 50.
Really? I mean, he looks young.
I mean, you got to figure that playing at TCU, that he was at least 23.
What year did he graduate from TCU?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. But I'm just talking like graduating from there at, let's say, 23.
Inquiring minds need to know this.
And then his extensive career here as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. How many years was he here where they didn't make the postseason?
I don't know. It was a good program before when he got here.
So maybe he immediately started getting to the postseason upon his arrival.
I mean, they were good. They were good before him, but he's obviously taken it to another level. All right.
On this day in 1836, Sam Houston is elected as the president of the Republic of Texas, which earned its independence from Mexico in a successful military rebellion. In victory, Houston declared that, quote, Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. It ought to do so, for no country upon the globe can compare with its natural advantages. Houston served as the Republic's president until 1938, and then again from 41 to 44. Despite plans of retirement, however, he would help Texas win admission into the United States in 45 and was elected as one of the state's first 2 senators. He served 3 terms in the Senate and argued unsuccessfully against secession. And that is this day in sports history.
All right, 6:54 this morning on the Morning Drive. More Texas Tech football, more of your reaction on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too. It all continues. Remember, we'll play a game on Saturday, but man, it feels like it's going to be a long time to get there. And today is just Tuesday.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. It's active today, as you would expect. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank to participate. We get this, and I disagree. Just like I disagree with the people that like, okay, well, which loss is worse, the Baylor loss or our loss? Because this guy says, just remember, guys, it could be worse. It could be Clemson. It doesn't matter. I mean, you lost to Wyoming. We'd love to have Clemson's problems, with, being ranked 9th in the country and, expectations to be a college football playoff team and
so I mean, I think the texter's point is valid. I mean, you have high expectations, and you put up 7 against Duke.
Yeah, I know. I guess I just look at it.
So I bet you their fan base is more. I mean, they have legitimate goals coming into the season of, hey, we think we can get to the college football playoff. We've been there many times before, and blah 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 blah.
We lost to Duke. No, I get it.
And they lost to Duke. I mean, pretty much they can't. It's going to be hard for them to hit their goals for the season now, right?
Yeah,
of making the college football playoff. I mean, if you're a Red Raider fan, you're probably thinking, hey, 9-3, 8-4, whatever. You can still get there.
Yeah, that's that. I see that point. The last time that Clemson lost to Duke was in 1989. Steve Spurrier was the coach, and Spurrier in that Duke season ended that year losing to Texas Tech in Birmingham. It was a great Red Raider team, and the last time that the Tech started the season 0-2 was 1990, coming off of that year in which basically you lost everybody. But you had to start off, you played a money game at Ohio State, and lost 17-10, and then the next week, opening at home against Houston, they were also ranked 18th coming into that game, and fell 51-35 to the Houston Cougars. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I think one of the biggest misreads was the throw that Bradley dropped. The announcers commented on this, but Shuck should have taken the higher completion throw to Miles Price and kept the chains moving. Okay.
I don't know. He threw a perfect ball.
It landed right in his lap. He just couldn't hang on to it.
Yeah.
I think the lack of realistic, positive and negative expectations causes lots of problems for Red Raider fans, but also the spin/PR game by the coaching staff. We really need to back off the praise for the offensive line, linebacker individual players, until it is proven. Okay. Why is no one talking about the 3 missed field goals? Well, we have, but obviously those were critical.
That may be the scariest thing, because I think you can fix a lot of went wrong on Saturday night when you just, in my opinion, had a bad night. Okay, had a bad night, a lot of different things. But the 2 things that I worry about a little bit, I thought the offensive line was okay, not terrible, not great, just okay. All right. That's not a glowing endorsement by any stretch of the imagination. I also want to give Wyoming's defensive front a little bit of credit, because it felt like, we had heard how good they were and how many returners they had back on defense. And so let's give them some credit. Maybe they are a pretty good defensive front. But I worry because, Tyler Shuck having a bad night, or Jerome Bradley dropping a ball, or your offensive coordinator saying he wasn't aggressive enough. All those things can change week to week, and maybe the kicker can too. But I mean, what do we know about kickers? When things go badly, they get in their head.
Sure. Get the yips.
I mean, it just seems like a struggle. So I'm definitely in the camp of being worried about the kicker right now. We've had seasons where it's cost you numerous games, and we can look back at Saturday night and say this was another one of them.
JL is right. Wyoming made adjustments, and we didn't. One thing that Coach McGuire said about the 3 missed field goals, he said that based on his camp, he would have never thought that.
I mean, the one before halftime with having 1 second on the clock and all that's got to be really, really hard for a kicker. So I don't want to be upset about that one. But, the others, I mean, even the 54-yarder that he crushed was still like a line shot.
Yeah. It
didn't look smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And, the others were obviously not good.
Yeah. But, at least he, from a confidence standpoint, at least he made that one to tie up the game.
Absolutely.
That was a huge pressure kick.
Yeah, and good for him that he was able to do that. And he makes the field goal there, then he knocks in the extra point in overtime. So good for him. And maybe you're absolutely right on that he showed some mental toughness there, and it won't be a problem. But again, until I see it going well, I'm going to continue to be a little bit nervous.
Well, you'd like it to be consistent, right? Mm-hmm. You'd like it to be consistent. The other thing, the one positive is you kick the ball out of the end zone every time.
Okay.
that was positive.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I've kind of harped on that. I kept track of that. And it was 5 times you had to kick off into the end zone.
So what's our record when we kick all the balls out?
I don't know the number. I don't know the number on that.
I don't know. We're 0 for our last one.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we should pooch kick every time.
No.
Don't do it like Friendship. That's for certain. Good gosh, Friendship's going to get knocked out of the playoffs because their kicking game. It's rough, man. It's really rough.
Well, they found a way to win on Friday night.
Yeah, it wasn't because their kicking game.
Somebody says he screwed up his steps on the field goal right before the half. Well, he had 1 second, and he had an expectation of what the holder was going to do in terms of having his hands out, and he wasn't able to have his hands out because they were trying to get the ball snapped really quick, and so it was just like Jamie said. I mean, you got 1 second on the clock. I mean, you're hurrying through it. And
I think that's really, really tough on a kicker. My bigger question about that whole ordeal is, I think the Red Raiders got hosed on the clock there because it looked like the receiver went down with at least 2 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to run all the time out, and there was 1 second on the clock. They put 1 second on the clock. I thought the Red Raiders should have had at least 2 seconds left. I don't know if that was something that Coach McGuire could have challenged or not, but I thought Tech got just 2 seconds. You're able to, call for it, and your timing is down right for the kicker. Whereas 1 second, I mean, it's different. I mean, as soon as they blow the whistle, the center has to snap it. And so it's a timing thing. Now you've involved the referee into the timing thing, right? The official into the timing. And that's just that just makes it really hard on a kicker. But I was wishing that the Red Raiders could have challenged that and gotten another second. But I don't even know if that's even allowed at that point. I'm confused on that rule.
And the other thing too is you burned a timeout there, and maybe you would regret.
Sure.
You may regret making that timeout call when Wyoming had the ball and you call timeout, and you obviously a lot of time got burned off there that didn't really allow you to kind of get set up with a possession like you would have really wanted to.
I know they changed the rule this year for how the clock works in the last 2 minutes. Can you not spike it anymore to stop the clock?
No, you can.
I don't think it was on that last play. I think it was on the first down before it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jeff.
The pass over the middle, you got the first down, and it felt like it took you forever to get up there and get the ball snapped. You run up there, clock it there, and you buy yourself 10 seconds, it felt like.
And I don't remember what happened on the next play. I don't know if it was. It seems like it was a positive play, but maybe not. I can't remember.
But you weren't dealing with just like minutes of time.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
You were in your hurry up, and it didn't feel like you hurried up.
Yeah, you got the drive with 29 seconds. Shuck completes a ball for 24 yards. Then he rushes up the middle for 12 for a first down. And then there's the short pass play to Dre McCray for 12 yards that ends up, being the last offensive play before the field goal. So, but, the timeout that you took to end your one there when Wyoming had the football, that left you with no timeouts going into that last drive right there before the half.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Time now for Jamie's question of the day on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
All right, so the retired librarian has come up with
trust a librarian with research. I'm a big fan of this.
With her crack research ability, has come up with the fact that Greg Sands was born on this day in 1974. So he's 49.
So he's the same age as me.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there you go. So he's just a few months younger than you.
Yep.
Okay, so there you go. So you and he are going to be half-century folks the same year.
We get 50 the same year.
Same year.
We should do a joint birthday.
We'll
We'll probably
joint
party
birthday
it up together.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Sands and I.
I'm sure you
Talking about our days in East Texas.
That's right.
In Jacksonville, Texas.
All right, so there you go. So, so she still got it. All right, now your question of the day, sir.
All right, so this is a fill in the blanker.
Okay.
The most frustrating part about Saturday night was fill in the blank. You cannot answer Texas Tech lost or Wyoming scored more points than us.
Okay.
You cannot.
I think for me was the mere fact that you went 7 drives in a row without scoring after you got up to a 17-0 lead. So the most frustrating part of the day for me was the Texas Tech offense and inability to be productive after you were so productive in the first quarter and a half.
That was my first answer. The 17-0 and then nothing until it was way too late. Now, you had missed field goals, so you had opportunities, which is why that's not the answer I'm going with. The absolute stupid penalties that you got. And I'm not talking about the ones that we can question, but the ones that you did that extended drives that had no business being extended. You'd done everything right, but I think it was Joey McGuire that said this yesterday. It may have been Tim DeRuiter, where it was sometimes you're playing. No, I take it back. It was Zach Hilley, because sometimes you're playing with 10. You got 10 guys doing what they're supposed to do, and one guy not doing what they're supposed to do, and that ruined the play. Those penalties drove me nuts in this game. There's no good time to get a bad penalty, but it really felt like you just continued those drives and gave them a chance to let them get their points in the game that they had no business in getting.
Okay. I don't know that I could have said it any better than what Chuck said. I mean, to see your offense be so non-existent after they showed you what they were capable of on the first few drives when it looked so easy. Again, I feel like it would have been easier to take if it was a struggle the whole time.
Mm-hmm. He'd come out flat or whatever.
Yeah, but you just looked, great, so good over those first few drives. Really first couple, because the third one you get the turnover and you don't really do much there. It just leads to a field goal. But after the first couple of drives, you just did nothing. And so it's like you saw how good they could be and how capable of putting up huge numbers they were. And then it was just taken away from you. Like, hey, this is going to be easy. And then there was just nothing. And we've had those games, and, you can remember at times when during the Leach era where we had these awesome offenses, and then you'd go up against a team that had a great defensive front and you couldn't block them. and the offense that was averaging 50 points a game would suddenly, score 13, and you were just like, hey, they just have better athletes than we do. They're way better than we are. I mean, they're just, 5 stars all over you didn't feel that way about Wyoming. I mean, I think we all have respect for their defense. We should, I think. But you felt like you were the more talented football team. And with so many veterans returning on offense and with an improved offensive line, quotation marks, okay? And I do think the offensive line was better. I just don't think they were, Coach McGuire saying they would be a strength of the team. They didn't look like a strength on Saturday night, okay? It was just that it was there. They showed you how good they could be, and then it was just all taken away. So that, to me, was the most frustrating thing.
This from Raider 316. Most frustrating part was the lack of Mamba mentality. Be a killer out there and hammer the nail in the coffin. Aim for the juggler. Make the corner throw in the white towel. Show no mercy. Score 80 if they're allowing you to. They didn't allow you to because they made adjustments and you didn't. Somebody brings up Chuck's.
Maybe that's the most frustrating part, that they were able to make adjustments that slowed you down offensively and you weren't able to react from that.
Well, and one thing that they did play the game. I mean, they slow played you some by, when they made an adjustment, when you made a substitution and they were allowed to make a substitution, they took time off the clock. Not that was causing you. It just they slowed down the tempo of the game after you had gotten it to be so sped up there, when it was 17-0. But after you get the fumble recovery and Jacob Rodriguez goes down with the injury, you get the ball at your own 32 and you're only able to muster a 54-yard field goal out of it. And I mean, granted, with 5:12 to go in the first quarter, you're up 17-0. But then they come right back and they get a field goal themselves, so they get a little momentum, and then they get big momentum with the Shuck interception on second down, and they get the ball at their own 44, which at that point was their best field position. It might have been their best field position of the night. The late hit that's called on Josiah Pierre, and then right after that, they get the ball down to the 10-yard line, and then they get a touchdown. All of a sudden now it's 17-10 with 2:30 to go before halftime. So it's like, wow, all of a sudden that went from 17-0 to a touchdown. Boom, the drop of a hat.
Yep, they had all the momentum.
And then your next possession, you elect not to go for it on 4th and 4, which kind of felt like you didn't have any momentum. Kind of felt like a good decision.
I felt it was.
Yeah, and I wasn't necessarily surprised there, but you go punt, they punt, and then you have a 3 and out, and basically that's it for the half, with the exception of the missed field goal there at the end of the first half of play. 7:40 this morning on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Nice to have you with us. Get your reaction today on things. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Visual Edge IT hotline is open. We come to you this morning, as we do per usual, from the First United Bank studio. We'll have Ranger Baseball on the air for you tonight. Man alive. Whew. That's not good. Not good at all. I thought, maybe Sunday, after the way they kind of turned things around, they got a walk-off there from...
after blowing a lead.
After blowing a lead. They got the walk-off. And he had struck out 4 times in the game. And that's the first time in Ranger history where a player has a walk-off home run after striking out 4 times, and like the 8th time in Major League Baseball history.
That's pretty cool. And it's a good message to everyone, right? Just worry about the next pitch.
Yeah, worry about the next pitch. Worry
about your, whatever's gone bad in your day. Just, hey, try to make the rest of your day good.
Yeah, trying to make a little lemonade out of things.
That's what Chuck has to do when he walks out of the morning drive. He's like, man, Jamie was a jerk today, but there's a good chance I can meet a bunch of really nice people today who want to buy advertising.
Yeah.
Just worry about the next sale. Worry about the next handshake.
Jamie, I am worried about the next pitch. I am. It's the next pitch the Rangers bullpen throws is that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
And then they throw it.
Most likely it'll be their starting rotation.
Aroldis Garcia can't bail him out every day, can he?
Well, what about Adolis Garcia?
Yeah, Adolis.
Do you think he could?
I gave him an extra R there. Adolis.
Aroldis Chapman.
Aroldis Chapman cannot bail them out.
He cannot bail
that's
them out.
been proven, I
He
think.
cannot bail them out, no. Yeah. Adolis Garcia. Yeah. Aroldis.
I know.
Adolis. And, whatever.
They made it really confusing on us when they traded for him.
Yeah, it's just kind of just...
Confusing on us that they traded for him, confusing that he's forgotten how to pitch. I mean, there's lots of confusing things with
No, I think that happened a few years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was last postseason when he just refused to pitch. So that's good.
Yeah. All right. Yates Morning Center chat line is open. Go to doublet973.com for that mobile app. One way to make the personal foul stop is if a guy gets a personal foul, he's not put back out in the rest of the game. That will make it stop. There are no consequences now. Oh,
they did get pulled.
Yeah.
How many personal fouls were there? 3?
I don't have that.
You had the hands to the face. You had the targeting, not targeting. And
The hands to the face isn't a personal foul.
I thought they call it a personal foul because it was on the quarterback.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
It was on the lineman.
I remember the one on the lineman.
It was on a lineman.
Yeah, that's not a...
The Josiah Pierre one where they call him for the late hit in addition for targeting. Yeah. I didn't see the late hit. I mean the quarterback's sliding. I mean, and
once he goes down into his slide, they just protect quarterbacks so much.
And and then the out of bounds plays too sometimes where you expect the defensive guy to stop on a dime. I mean.
And again,
you can't. I mean, you just can't.
Like the quarterback is running down the left sideline. So the sideline is on his left side, right? Mm-hmm. He's running down the sideline. And if you watch what he does on that play, it's pretty smart. But he does like a Euro step where he takes a big step to his right or a step to his right to make the defender think he's about to cut in. Mm-hmm. And then he makes a jump cut step to the left like a yard out of bounds, or less than a yard, but out of bounds. His body is heading out of bounds. He's still half in bounds now. Yeah. And that's when the defensive back hits him. Mm-hmm. And once he took that step to the right, it showed the defensive back, hey, I'm going to cut. I'm going to try to make a bigger play here. So at that point, as the defensive back, you can't pull up.
Right.
And then he immediately takes the step out of bounds and gets hit. And I thought that was a terrible call. I thought, you got to let these defenders, you got to understand that's hard. And I feel bad for the defenders on the quarterback slide all the time, too. Because, I don't know. It just feels like that's a tough one you're going towards the guy, but I don't know. I just think that one's tough. And the other personal foul were the receiver, tight end, whoever it was, maybe it was an offensive lineman, I can't remember, knocks down your defensive back and kind of chirps a little bit, and he starts walking away, and I don't even remember which Red Raider it was, but he just gave him a little shove on the side of his shoulder. He didn't push him backwards. He didn't cheap shot him from behind. I do more to choice walking up the hallway here on any given day, and and Karen over there in the referee uniform is throwing a flag over that. I'm like, you get this as football, right?
Yeah, they've taken some of that away.
That's not a technical foul in a basketball game. Mm-hmm. And she's throwing a flag for that in football? Come on, Karen.
Somebody says, are you guys blaming the refs when it was clearly coaching? No, we're not. We're not at all. No. This will tell you who really stood out was Lux. That guy was everywhere he was.
No, who really stood out was that female ref.
Yeah. Braylon Lux got the interception, but then the hands to the face by Harvey Dyson takes that away. Boy, you'd love to have had that. They end up punting, Wyoming does, but obviously it takes time off the clock. And boy, if you get that interception and you're able to maybe go down and score or get more time to kick a better field goal than a 49-yard attempt there at the end of the half. I'm not saying that changes the game, but maybe it does a little bit. Maybe you get a little bit of your momentum back, as opposed to that you get the ball to start the second half, and right away it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and you get a penalty. And then that makes it 3rd and 8, and you get a false start, and then as a result of that, changes that play, and you end up having to punt. and they convert on a 3rd and 7, and then end up getting a touchdown, going 13 plays and 7:31. I mean, those 2 drives. There's a couple of drives there in the second half. That one, 13 plays, 7:31, 76 yards, and then they had another one that took 8:58 off the clock, 14 plays and 65 yards, where they take the lead at 20 to 17 on a field goal, and I guess it's 14 plays, 6:14 goes off the clock. This is at the 8:58 mark of the fourth quarter where they take the 3-point lead, and they had some long drives in the second half. They only got a handful of possessions. I think 4 possessions in the second half. So weren't able to do very much with it. Just score 3 points. Critical 3 because you're able to get to the overtime. Man.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.